Displaced flood victims have taken refuge at community halls across Ethekwini. Our reporter Linda Mnisi is live to us now from just outside the community hall in Newzroom. And Linda, you've spent some time crisscrossing that province. From the situation you're able to see this morning, is it getting any better?
Well, you'll remember that mop-up operations have started here in Ethekwini with, many residents really taking part in the mop-up operations, some even going as far as rebuilding their own homes, and just to make sure that they move on with their lives. But of course, the level of devastation is such that they cannot do it on their own, and they need, of course, teams on the ground from government to assist with these. In terms of the people that have been displaced, you'll remember government saying that those people were immediately, even on Tuesday morning, being placed, in local community halls. In one of the areas that I'm in right now, we spoke to a lady yesterday who told us, that in fact she did not see the need of going to a local community hall because her life would stand still, and that's why she's still on the ground trying to rebuild her life. The level of devastation in that area is such that there is even a sinkhole next to where they live. An entire bridge has been swept away by the floods, a major bridge which connects the areas. So there was, of course, that element of trying to rescue themselves, but they say that government has been very slow in terms of reaching where they are, and one can only imagine, given of course the extent of the damage, how difficult it must be to get to certain areas. But we understand that there are a number of these centers that have been established across the region itself, those counting amongst to the numbers of around 19 for the people who have been displaced and have nowhere to sleep. So the provincial government then saying that relief efforts are still going into these communities, trying to find the people that have lost their homes, trying to find the people that are missing. Ayanda?
You've also spent some time, Linda, speaking to some of the residents who've been very adversely affected by what's taken place. As you've mentioned, many of them feeling disillusioned, feeling left out by the state. In what ways, if any, did the President's visit yesterday change that?
Well, for some community members, it was largely welcome, but I'll reflect specifically on the area that did not receive, or rather the President did not receive a warm welcome here in Newzroom. He went to visit a family that had lost 3 children in the floods, and what had happened there, the grandmother who was in the house saw the house literally being swept away, and that's when the children who were in the bed at the time were swept away by the floods. It literally cracked from the foundation, so they lost their home through, one may say, the breakage of the foundation, and that's how the kids were swept away. But that lady was since moved to another house, where she's currently being accommodated, and this is where the funeral arrangements currently are taking place. And the residents were quite displeased about how the President conducted that visit, because he only went to the house where the lady is being accommodated and not necessarily where the damage is. And they took us to that particular area, and then looking at it, there was a lot of damage and potential danger for more people to be affected should these rains continue. And they were raising that concern that it seems the President is here only to cover up the extent of the damage, because if he's here to really see what happened, why is he not concerned about the people who are also still at risk of being affected by these floods? There are homes that are on the brink of a collapse, and the President did not even get to see that. So the community is quite disheartened by the way in which the President conducted his visit, but obviously in some areas he was warmly welcomed by the people there, even giving an address in an area such as Claremont, the President saying that he does realize that the extent of the damage is really, big, and will, of course, make sure that the resources are allocated to assist the people on the ground.
Linda Mnisi.